How's it going, everybody? So I am back for my second shave using the RusRazor's Damascus straight razor for the DFS Passaround. And if you guys saw my last video, I had mentioned that it was like my first straight razor shave in about 5 years. So while I'm lathering up, I'll tell you guys about my results after the video. So real quick, same brush, same ethos, Lavender Supreme shave soap. I'll probably make some comments about ethos and maybe another shave soap in a moment, but I have to say, at the end of the video of my last straight razor shave, I did have a good amount of nicks in kind of like my normal area as well as up here. So although I had those, I have to say, you guys, I did have some razor burn. I still have to say, I think the shave was really good. I kind of said on camera that if I were to grade myself, it was like a B or a B minus, which was kind of what I wanted to mention. I would still say, though, I think this razor was really nice. It still cut, I think, in my opinion, very smooth. So although my skin didn't look that great, I would still say it was still a great shave, and it really just comes down more to my technique not being really refined. So it just kind of got me thinking about just kind of reminding myself that there's going to be times where you don't get the most optimal results, and it just reminded me of, I think there was a couple other people on YouTube that had recently made some videos, and the titles might have been something like, is technique everything? And I think usually what comes up is, to get a great shave or to get a good shave, how high of quality or price range do you need to invest in order to get your best shave? So even though I wouldn't grade my last straight razor shave using this setup as great, I don't want it to reflect negatively, or just I don't want it to be unrealistic with the fact that my technique probably has more to do with my results rather than the razor. And you just kind of have to go case by case. But I guess I can just mention this now. It reminded me, following some of the comments on DFS about this Ethos shave soap. And my first shave, I would say I got results similar to this, but I would say that there's been people mentioning that they think the Ethos shave soap is a little bit more drying on their skin than they would like, or that they can tolerate. And I think that just goes to show that there's a level of how great or how much goes into producing something, with the intention of trying to make it work as well as possible, within certain parameters. There's just not always going to be the possibility of a product being compatible for every user. So I know that my first shave, I did feel that kind of similar dry post shave. I think for me, the one experience that I did have with the second shave was that the post shave felt better, and I would say that the first shave, I just maybe didn't use enough product. But this isn't to say that, like, if someone chooses to use this and then sell it and find that it's just the post shave isn't appropriate for their skin, that person has every right to, I don't know, say that it doesn't work for me. I just wonder sometimes if it's appropriate in every sense, where you see some of the more negative reviews, and this isn't to say that I saw like a negative review saying like Ethos is really bad, but there's always going to be plenty of threads with like brand A, brand B, and as many glowing reviews as you're going to have from certain members. You're also going to have people that, for whatever reason, it just doesn't work that well, and you know, I think they have a right to give whatever review. But I was talking with somebody this week. This lather's, again, this Ethos lavender, it seems to take up water really well, so I've been really happy with this. But I was mentioning to this person I was talking to that there's a soap maker that, you know, I know, and it wasn't somebody that I had talked to recently, this soap maker. But I said, I really like the perfuming of this soap maker, but I don't really use their soaps anymore because from what I understand and what I read a lot, they make a lot of their soaps with different parameters. And part of that, I think, is they try to make a soap base that I think plays nicely with fragrance. I mean, I tend to have fragrance quite a bit lower on the list of importance when it comes to soaps, and I'm totally fine if people say if it doesn't smell good, I'm not going to use it. But in my opinion, there's something to be said for the performance first, and second the fragrance, you know, or that it's still important. It's just a little bit secondary for me. I think this is good. You guys, my second pass last time worked really easily, so I think I'm actually just going to do an against the grain first pass, and I have one additional day's beard growth compared to my last shave, so I think this is 4 days beard growth, so just a little bit more visible beard growth than last time. And if you guys can hear that, the weather is still really hot here in California, so what you guys hear is the fan in the background. I actually have 2 going. So, alright, so let's go for against the grain first pass. Oh, by the way, there was a comment that I made on the last video, and I was talking about, I think, rolling the spine. I had kind of made some mention of trying to find the angle, and for whatever reason I couldn't get the right wording down, but let's just kind of, let's see. There we go. Grout sponge. Wipe the razor off. Anyway, I hope everyone's having a nice week or a weekend. Hope everyone's shaves have been going well. I was almost thinking about using that other razor that was included, but again, I feel like as much as some people might want to see me use that other straight razor. It's just not, I think, in my best interest to show you guys another first time shave, even though it was included on the Passaround. I'm sure down the line someone else that is in this Passaround, which has much more straight razor experience, they're going to be able to give a better judgment on a larger, I don't know, maybe you could say this is more appropriate for a beginner versus the other one, but trying to remember if I held this a different way on this against the grain pass last time. Might have cut myself right there. This is probably the harder spot of my beard to really get close, so maybe I should relather just real quickly around this. I haven't really been thinking too much about this Ethos soap. It's performed pretty much like I expected. It's worked really well. Like, I think this might be my 6th shave with it. And I really haven't had any times where I'm like, I don't feel like it's slick enough or anything like that. I think the body and the density is about what I expected. It doesn't feel good. Again, I'm no straight razor pro. I don't remember how I held it on this side. Maybe this is a little much beard to try and go through. Again, I think this, however this was honed, it seems to work pretty well for me. It's just really just kind of knowing this angle. Just being confident. That's always the itchiest spot for me to have to deal with during a shave. Try not to go over that spot. Again, this razor is going to get disinfected. That was another reason why I didn't want to use the other straight razor is, you know, it's better to have I think I'm going to do a second just with the grain pass. I think that'll be easy enough for me. Let me just grab one of these towels real quick. Yeah, so real quick, the first straight razor that I had was a Dovo Forestall, which I think was a 5/8. Is that what they call a quarter hollow grind? Half hollow grind. I think it was a quarter hollow grind, and it's just not as much metal as I think my beard likes to have. I think a little bit of a coarser, I apologize, a thicker made razor will be a little bit easier for me to wield. What was the other thing I was going to say? With this, I would say it's probably like 2 steps easier to use than the Dovo that I had. And you know what? It's hard for me to say, you guys. I wonder, in my experience, if I'll notice, like, I'm pretty sure this bone set of scales has more substance and weight than I don't know what kind of wood the Forestall, I don't know if that's the name of just the razor or if that's possibly the wood that I had, but that razor was very light, and so this one just seems to have a little bit more weight, like I said, substance behind it, that I don't feel like I'm having to force myself quite as much to do the work for the blade. The next time you guys see me use a straight razor, it's going to be a little bit thicker than this, a little bit heavier. One more note before I lather up. One of the reasons why I don't like shaving on video, or I mean it's just not optimal, is I couldn't tell because I'm looking through the screen, but the last shave I totally missed beard right here, and I didn't clean it up because it's whatever. I got 2 straight razor shaves for the week. I'm not focused on getting the perfect result, but I'm just not always as attentive because it's just not the same as being like right up in front of the mirror. But I still was really excited after that shave, and I thought it was a good challenge. So I can see why a lot of people really like straight razors. And again, once you kind of fall into a good routine, it obviously is going to get easier and easier. So I think even more so with straight razors, like compared to DE, DE razors, especially with, my channel, just sharing different razors, different pass-arounds that I've been a part of in the last month, there's a big range of price in double-edged razors, and I think even more so with straight razors. You can find a cheaper straight razor, restore it, and that might be like an investment of like 30, 40, 50 bucks. Sometimes these custom straight razors can be $1,000, $1,500, and it just goes back to, if you give a beginner a honed gold dollar that's cheaper, and if you hand them another custom straight razor, are they automatically going to get a better shave with the higher quality razor? Which, again, in my opinion, higher price does not automatically equate to better quality, or ultimately, I get, that's the one thing. I guess just this last week I've just been thinking about, different things in shaving, and I don't know, just trying to remind myself that quality and price are just, they're not always something that you can easily discuss, in such broad terms. So, again, you can have a high quality but cheaper priced item and still get a very good shave. And I think the reverse is true as well. You could have a very high quality razor with bad technique and it will result in a very bad shave. So I do kind of like stuff that's, more on the mid-tier, or, maybe high-end for some things. I think that sometimes I could probably explore a little bit more options that are on the cheaper end. I feel like I have some items in my den that are on the cheaper side, and this brush is definitely a good example. It's, in my opinion, one of the best made knots. It's not a crazy custom handle that costs over $100 for some resin, and I like all those different brushes, but as much as I love brushes that are made really well, I'd rather use this than my $500 Plasson Badger brush that I used to have. And that knot was probably better than this as far as quality and in terms of the materials used. Sometimes a more expensive item still can yield a good result, but it doesn't automatically mean it's the best for you. So I don't know. Hopefully what I'm saying makes some sense, but I'm definitely one of the ramblers on video when I shave. Was a nice pass. Make sure I get this even. Go back to, this will be my last pass, but we're giving it a shot with my left hand, so wish me luck. I hope for the worst. don't know what this is. It's kind of been hanging out for quite a few months now. I don't know if it's an ingrown hair, but what's kind of interesting is I'm not really doing against the grain first pass like I used to do for a long time. And although I'm still doing against the grain passes for a lot of shaves, I've been really lucky. Ingrown hairs were a little bit more common for me years ago, every once in a while down here lower on the neck. But this, for whatever reason, it kind of pops up and goes away and pops up, so I'm not really quite sure what it is. I think that's going to be it for the shave. So once again, what I'm going to do is I'll strop this both on the canvas and the leather side of my strop. Disinfect the razor blade. I'm going to get this sent off probably tomorrow or Monday. Chances are I want to be able to go into the post office and make sure this gets sent off well. And again, this is kind of weird, but I'm surprised just both right now and my previous shave. I have a feeling part of it does have to do with the ethos, but besides my technique not being at its peak, I think the razor is really, really well made. I think it's for the most part pretty compatible with someone like me. For my skin and my beard, if I wanted the best results, I would just have to keep shaving with it. So I guess that's the one takeaway that I've had from this week, is just a good reminder that you can still have a less than optimal shave, and sometimes it is due to the products just not being as compatible with your beard, your skin. I don't know, there's just a few different things that come to my mind. But even when the shave results aren't optimal, in my opinion, there's still going to be times where you have to be honest with yourself and say, I still think the products did really well. It just has to do with kind of refining your technique, and I mean, that's nothing new under the sun, but I just think sometimes there's maybe a little bit of nuance, and if there's a bad review of something, I think there's going to be times where it's justified. It's just something is a bad product, or something just doesn't work really well for an individual. But I think that sometimes we just don't maybe hear about as many of the cases where someone's saying, I think this is still a good product, I just don't think it's compatible with me. I think there's actually a lot of different products that I would say I probably will never purchase. I'm maybe less than likely to give it a try, or even get a free sample of something. But it's not to say that it's like it's not up to my standard or it's not good enough for me to use. It just comes down to I have a belief that there's certain products that are more beneficial to my skin. And of course, until you try something, you don't know. So it's not like that's a totally, I have to try something again to know if it's really going to work for me or not. But I'm not going to sit here for the rest of my life and try everything under the sun, because in the first 4 years of wet shaving as a hobby, you end up just trying. I ended up trying and buying way too many things. I still didn't get to really try everything that I had bought, because when you have such a big rotation, you don't really get to sit in and experience every product to really fully understand how it works with you and for you. So that's why, like, if you guys see previous videos or future videos, it's not that I'm against telling people to buy and try. I'm actually really for that. I just think try to exercise a degree of don't get too many things all at once, and give yourself the time to circle and cycle through stuff, and at least try it a good few times to be able to give it a real judgment. That's just my opinion. It's not to say that if you guys want to be buying and trying a bunch of different stuff, you know, to the nth degree, do what makes you happy. I really am just on here to at least share how I use products, give you what the experience is like for me, maybe give you a little bit of, you know, some contrarian views and kind of where I maybe find myself in the middle, but just to, you know, reinforce the fact that I think you want to try and have fun in shaving. I've, I think, been getting a little bit better, and a perfect example is this straight razor shave earlier this week. Usually I'm kind of miffed if I can't have a shave where I'm confident in what I'm using, but even though I've been getting razor burn these last few shaves with different razors and the straight, I still enjoyed my shave. I enjoyed the challenge of it. It kind of changed my mind with, you know, I should probably try and do this a little bit more frequently, you know, challenge myself to do a shave. So like I said, I think in about a month or so, you guys will probably see me doing some more straight razor shaves with a Snail Forge custom. So I'm looking forward to that, but I wish I had just a little bit more time to maybe get another shave or two with this, but I need to get it out to the next person. So if you made it to the end of this video, once again I want to thank Sergi, RusRazors, Glazed Boker, and DFS for being able to make this Passaround possible. I'm really looking forward to the next set of videos, which is with another Passaround. But I, again, appreciate if anyone wants to comment or ask any questions, feel free and I'll get back to you guys. So enjoy your weekend, stay cool, and make sure you guys drink water if you're in an area where it's hot. But I look forward to catching you guys soon, okay? Take care.